streaming from my GoPro a minute ago. That didn't really work out. So I switched to my phone, set it all back up, and here we are. I am setting up my solar right now. What I'm going to do is I'm setting everything up on this shelf right here, which I'm going to be putting inside of my van. And right now I've got the charge controller hooked up, and I've got these wires set up here. So these wires are going to come from the solar panels right there, negative and positive. This is a fuse, 30 amp fuse, because I have a 30 amp charge controller. So take 30 amps. If it ever takes more than that, it'll protect the charge controller from blowing up and blow the fuse. I've got an extra fuse, but you want to make sure you put fuses and breakers in here. And it goes into these, which is this is a splitter. So I got 2 negatives and 2 positives coming out of it. 2 of these 2, are going to go inside of my charge controller. They're going to go into there. And then the other 2 are going to be powering my Jackery battery packs. And sorry about the motorcycle. So 2 of these are, goddamn, go away. 2 of these are going to charge into the charge controller. 2 of these are going to go into the battery pack. That way I can charge my deep cycle batteries and my Jackeries at the same time. So from here, it'll go from here into the batteries, which I have stow and go seating. The batteries are going to be located underneath this section of, they're going to be underground, but they're going to be, I have stow and go seating, so they're going to be under the ground right there. So from here to the charge controller to the batteries, and then also I've got some positive and negative bus bars, well, posts here that I'm going to use as my ground and my positive for the whole solar build. And I'm going to try to educate you guys as I do this, bring you along with me, so you might even be able to set up your own solar by the time I'm done. But essentially what's happening, right, is that the panels are providing power to the batteries. And what the charge controller here does, this device right here, is it's essentially an automatic switch, right? So this, when the batteries are full, you don't want power to keep going into it. So if your batteries are full and it's daytime, you want the power to stop. So this is essentially an automatic switch. Not only does it automatically detect what kind of batteries you have, we've got sealed, gel, flooded, and lithium ion. I currently have a sealed battery. AGMs are sealed lead acid. It'll detect what kind of battery you have. It'll provide the current the right way, the way that battery needs to be charged. And then it also shuts the power down and goes into float mode once your batteries are full. Because if the batteries are full and the sun is out, you don't want power going into them, you'll start a fire. So this thing is just an automatic switch, not too different from a switch like this that turns things on and off. You know what I mean? So this just does it for you, so you don't have to manually do it. But I do have a manual switch. I'm going to be installing this later. And then I also have a bus bar, and all of my devices, my fridge, lights, everything is going to be powered off of this with some fuses in here, so the whole system is protected. I just went and spent a bunch of money that I really didn't have to make sure that I had solar, because I have that fridge now that Chuck hooked me up with, and Chuck also sent me this, which I haven't quite opened yet, but a DC to DC battery charger. This is going to make it so that when I'm driving down the road, I'm also charging my batteries. Currently, I don't have solar panels mounted on the top of my roof. The only time I'll be able to charge it off the solar panels is if I pull out my folding panels and plug it into the system, which is what I'm building right now. But when I install this into the system, when I'm driving down the road, I'll also be charging my batteries. This is a 20 amp one, which isn't a whole lot. I had options. I could have gotten a 40 or a 60 amp, but I opted for the 20 amp on purpose because it meant that I can use smaller wires, and that makes it a lot cheaper. The big wires, big thick battery cables are very expensive. I ain't got that kind of money, but I was able to get some of this gauge wire right here, so I can build this all out. And right now I'm just trying to figure out where to put everything, you know what I mean? Like where to set all this up. So if you could picture this, batteries will be underground, charge controller here. I need to find a spot to mount these. and then to mount this, and then wire it all up. Right now, I think I'm gonna connect the charge controller so y'all can hang out while I do that. Awesome, Zig. Awesome. I didn't miss you, sir. Hell yeah, Darren, what's up? I just got your message right before the live stream. You just sent me a Facebook message. And if anyone else wants to get to know me, chat with me, you guys, I have a Facebook. It's Zig Sehorn, Sehorn. And I mean, I talk to people. Darren hits me up. We have conversations. I chat with all you guys who want to get to know me a little better. I also got my voltmeter here, so I can make sure everything's tested and working.
I was just wondering.
No, what's up? What's that?
I was just wondering if Ben was done with the room.
I don't even know where he is.
Okay.
He was just in here.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, you're good. So I think I'm gonna have to cut these off because you need bare wire to go into this. Let me see. Let me get you a little closer. Would be kind of cool if they made these connectors, these solar connectors, to go into this, but they don't. So I'm gonna cut them, and then I'm gonna have to strip them. I just had to buy this too because my other one rusted out and it was on the shit. So. There we go. Now to strip them. Let's see. You know what I mean, Bird? And you want to make sure that there's enough metal to fit into these, because I don't know if you can see it. I'll give you a better look on these charge controllers. So this is positive, negative for the panel, and then positive and negative to the battery. And it's gonna be a reach for the negative, but I think I could do it. I might have to move this forward just a little bit, but let me grab my screwdriver so I can loosen this. Yeah. So we'll loosen up the negative, and we'll loosen up the positive. Is that too big? That might be too big. This is not. Yeah. Actually, let me unhook this. And then we can really get these in here. There we go. Got the negative in. And we're going to tighten it down. Shit, maybe I could just do this. Where'd my bit go? There it is. The bit keeps falling out of this. Nope, too big. Okay, let me see if I can find a smaller screwdriver. Might just be screwed. Putting it down with this. Okay, give it a little tug, it won't come out, we're good. Now we'll put the positive in, same way. Oh, you little shit. There we go. Put the positive in, boom. Oh, no. I think I missed. Ouch. I think I missed. So let me loosen it back up. So inside of here, if you look, if you ever do this, you'll see that this loosens a little thing that tightens around the wire, and it's easy to miss it, which becomes a little obnoxious, if we're being completely honest. Which I think this needs to be loosened a little more. Really need a smaller screwdriver. And thankfully, my buddy Ben's got one. Thanks, Ben. Alright. Loosened it. Get that puppy in there. Oh, I felt it go in. So this one's good. Now we'll tighten it down. Did that work? Nope. It needs to be tightened a little more. Come on, baby. Oh, I can feel it tightening down. Alright. So, this means that if I was to plug my panels in right now, the power would get to the charge controller. Currently, it won't get to the batteries though, which we're going to take care of right now, because that's the next step into the batteries. So, I bought these wires right here. These were going to be positive and negative extensions for my solar, so I could put my solar out, like I could park in the shade and then put my solar out far away, and these were going to connect to the system. But I think I need this wire to wire up the system, so I'll have to buy more of these whenever I can afford it, so I could put my panels on an extension cord and put them out like in the sun while I'm parked in the shade. Oh, let's see. Let me catch up on all your comments. Hey, what's up, Dave? Oh, I've got a lot of comments. I started watching you when you were hunting that guy down from Slab City. Hell yeah. Welcome to the channel, man. I was just thinking of that too. I remember Zig with 500 subs on this channel trying for 1,000. Yeah, Darren, you've been here since the beginning, bro. Oops, those are good. Lead cut off. Left some wire to reuse clips. Yeah, I did actually, but I don't know if I'll ever reuse those clips. Plus, these clips actually do disconnect. I can honestly just unscrew them and pop them off. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to do, the way these are wired in, but you can remove these, put them back on. I just like to cut them because it's annoying, which is what I'm going to do now. And you're right, I'm going to leave enough to wire something on here later if I need to reuse these things. But you can buy those clips and wire them onto any wire. I'm gonna have to cut the other end off too, because both of these ends are gonna be a problem. And yes, leave enough if you're doing this on your own so you can use this later, just like he said. But again, you can also attach those things to any wire that's bare. So there's my positive. Fun fact, I got electrical tape. It's black, so if I had to turn this positive into negative, you can. You just wrap it in black tape. Same with this, if you have to turn it into negative, or I'm sorry, into a positive, and you get some red electrical tape, it's gotta be electrical tape, because electrical tape doesn't conduct electricity, and it's insulated. But you can wrap this in red electrical tape and it'll turn it into a positive. There is no difference between wire that is negative and positive. It's just the current that goes through the wire and the color we put on it. The color is really there for your advantage, so you know later which wire is negative, which one's positive. Alright. I've also got to reconnect this part here. And I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. The way it was before, wasn't enough room. But like this actually might work, honestly, the way it sits right now. I got these wire clips so I can guide the wires along. But I think that actually right there might just be fine. So I've got this other one wire clip on the side. So this might be just fine, actually. But what I would like to do, I'm gonna wire this into the charge controller, and it'll go down underground into the batteries, which I have over there. And I will get to the batteries eventually. You guys are gonna be hanging out with me for a little bit today because this is what I'm doing with my day. Got to get my solar set up. Stripping some wire, leaving enough, you know, so I can get exposed wire in there. Might have been a little much, so let me trim that down a little bit. And you guys, like, wiring is actually pretty easy. It's not that hard. I didn't know jack shit about this until I just started learning about solar. So, and then I realized how actually easy it is. And once I started understanding it, it means you can work on your own solar. If something goes wrong, you can troubleshoot it. If you understand your solar. I see a lot of people in the Vanlife groups, RV groups, that have like some professional do their solar, and then off they go on their adventure, and they have no idea how to use their solar, and they're always asking. Just honestly, yesterday, somebody was in the Vanlife group asking how they charge their battery on their solar, and everyone had the same answer. They were like, park in the sun. But it wasn't quite that simple. He didn't know what questions to even ask. His battery wasn't charging. Why? Because he had a fuse. He had basically a switch in between his panels and his batteries. So even though the panels were getting juice, none of that juice was getting to the battery because he had that switch off, and he just paid for someone to do the solar and no one taught him how to use it. He couldn't troubleshoot it if he wanted, and he didn't even know what questions to ask when it needed troubleshooting. Oh, no, need to be tired. It is kind of important you get these snug. There is going to be a lot of amps running through these. And you don't want them to just fall off because I'm going to be driving down the road, you know. It's going to be bouncy and really easy for these things. Plus there's a lot going on in the van. It's a tight space. Things bump into each other, pulls on wires. You want to make sure that these are really snug. Which is what I'm doing now. Oh, needs to be a little bit tighter. Boom. Alright, got the positive on there. Now to hook the negative up. Same thing, chop these off, make sure you have enough room so you can reuse them later. And then they fly away. And then they fly away. I'm gonna have to buy some more of these down the road because fact of the matter is I really want to have my panels on extension cords. But I can't do that. I can't do that right now because I need this wire. I need this wire to do the system. All the wire I did have was in Vanagon when Vanagon got towed. So I was hoping that it would be here. It wasn't. So I had to use this wire. Yeah. Now, same thing. Put it in the negative. First you gotta loosen it though. This shelf will be my power station, right? but it'll also be storage. There. I can store stuff on the shelves and whatnot. Right now in the van, I have absolutely no storage, so this will be really useful. Okay, and you know what? Instead of making these go straight down to the battery, I'm gonna connect the negative to this right here, and then the positive to this. These posts. In fact, I'll connect all of the negative and positives to those. All right, I give that a tug. We're good. Good to hook. Good to go. So then, I got to figure out where to mount these, and a lot of the net power is going to be running through these. These are 250 amps, which is great because with my inverter, it only pulls about 180 amps. You can do the math with Ohm's law. It's really easy math. If you don't want to do the math, that's fine. There's calculators online. If you just put in the voltage, the wattage, it'll give you the amperage. If you know the amperage and the wattage, it'll give you the voltage. If you know the, you know what I'm saying, it's all interchangeable. But my system is all 12 volts, so that's a default 12 volts. And then this is 30 amp, right? So if you do the math, it tells you how many watts it's going to provide. You're going to need to know this stuff to know what stuff to buy if you're going to build your own solar. There's calculators online. You also need to know that. You also need to know that stuff to know what gauge of wire to use, because if you are putting a lot of energy through it and you're using thin wire, your wire is going to get real hot. It causes a lot of resistance. Your wire is going to get hot, melt, probably start a fire. That's why when you put an inverter on, since it's pulling so much energy, you have to use thick battery cables. But this is only 30 amps at 12 volts. I don't want to do the math right now. I don't know the equation off the top of my head, but I don't need thick wires for it. I just need this gauge wire, which I believe this is 12 gauge. But what I was thinking earlier is I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the negative over here on this side. Let's see, I'll show you guys. Negative right there, and then the positive on this side. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that'll work well. So let's get it ready. Mount these. Then I'll have to add some connectors to the end of it. Now, I'm really hoping I have enough connectors, you guys. I'm doing this on a budget. I'm poor, so I'm doing this all on a budget, doing the best I can. Hopefully I have everything I need. The only thing I am a little worried about is my connectors, to make sure I have enough of them. And this bolt is pretty big. I might not have gotten the right size connectors, but we'll find out. Let's get this going. If I don't have the right connector, I'll bypass these for now and then just go get the right connectors when I have the money, add it to the system later. But I still want to mount them right now. Looking for my screw. I keep dropping my screw. I think that'll work. Okay. Where did my drill go? Oh man, just losing everything in front of me. And the bit. There it is. Took everything off of it so it's easy to deal with. And I have a variety of wood screws here that I'm using. A tray of them. I think this is the same size as that one. No, it's not. Okay. There we go. And you also want to make sure whatever screws you get doesn't stick through, you know what I mean? Like once I mount this, it's not long enough to go all the way through. So I don't have to worry about that. It won't be sticking out. You won't have metal pokey shit sticking out on the sides. Now, also filming while I do this. Also sponsored by Ryobi. Ryobi Tools. Ryobi is the shit. Big shout out to Chuck for the drill I'm using right now. Also, you gotta think about what material you're attaching this to. Wood does not conduct electricity. Neither does glass and rubber. So wood really is the best thing to do this with, because you won't have anything like, you won't have to worry about anything sparking through the wood, since wood doesn't conduct electricity. Take everything off of here. Well, I guess I'm gonna leave that stuff on. Get a couple of screws, and then same thing, screw it to the other side. And this is going to be my negative and positive posts. All my negatives and positives will be running through these, except for off of my inverter, although I could add my inverter to this, and I might actually do it later, but right now I'm going to have it separated, and because I don't have the right wire ends right now to put a fuse on my inverter, and I don't want the inverter connected to the whole system without a fuse. Yeah, buddy. That's money. That's money. Oh, I need my bit. Every time, dude, the bit comes out of this. I gotta put it back in. Every time. Alright. See? Every time. Let's catch up on some comments, y'all. Y'all are hanging in there. I hope this is your channel. Me too. I hope this is my channel. Those connections suck when it's mounted upright. Doesn't like to open the slot. Oh yeah, the charge controllers. Yeah, they're not. They do kind of suck, but once you get them tightened down, like, they're pretty good. Elon bought YouTube. Hope he's not going after ad revenue. Elon has not bought YouTube. That's not true. Google still owns YouTube. Cece says hi. Hi, Cece. Ground wire is most important. Need a good frame ground on DC to DC charger. Yeah, you can also add it to this negative post also. That also would work as a ground. But I do have grounds on the van. When I hook that DC to DC charger up, I'll be grounding it pretty good. My Chrysler van has floor cut out for a wheelchair. That would be awesome for van life. Yeah, dude. I'll take your van when you're done with it. Hello there, Ziggy Wiggy. What's up? Not today, Satan. I'm doing alright, man. Girl, I don't know what you are, but welcome to the live stream. Hey, what's up, Critter? I just ate 9 pieces of mushroom chocolate, 1/3 grams per square. So you ate 3 grams of mushrooms. Alright, enjoy your trip. Main positive wire for main battery side of DC to DC charger ground cable needs frame ground, or it has to go bigger at such a long run. Being poor is freedom. Being poor is expensive, let me tell you. Put a piece of paper around bit and shove it in the drill attachment. That's actually a pretty good idea. No, Google still owns YouTube. So next I need to add connectors to this, right? Because the positive's gonna attach to the positive, negative's gonna attach, you see that? To the negative. So I need to add connectors to this. So they go on. I'm really hoping I have the right connectors, that they're wide enough. Also, need to add one more thing before this goes into the positive bus bar and provides power to it. I need a way to turn off the power from the panels before it gets into this. So I'm gonna add a breaker. Boom. Just a standard 20 amp DC breaker. You have to make sure they're DC. Shit. No. I need to, this is 20 amps. I can't add this right now. I need to get a 30 amp one because this is 30 amps. I can't add this to the system right now. But it does have an inline fuse on the side over here. It's not a breaker, but it should protect the system. Right here. This is, you notice how this one's down here, the negative, then the positive's up here. That's because I added a 30 amp fuse to that. I would like to add a switch before like I'm saying, I should add a switch before it goes into the system. But now that I'm looking at this, this is 20 amps. So I'm gonna have to add this into a different spot on the system. Not here. Let me make sure these fuses are okay. I might have to like drill them out or something. Spicoli, what up? What up, Spicoli? How you doing? I'm at CC's at least till the 15th. Fuck yeah, dude. You gonna be heading this way? Are you coming up to Oregon, Dave? Get in here. Oh, there we go. You coming up my direction? Thanks for doing this live. Great thing to show. So here's the connectors I have. Put them on the end of the wire. But my problem right now is I'm pretty sure it's not going to be big enough. Oh, maybe it is. No, it's not. I might have to drill that out a little bit. Gonna have to drill out at least two of them. Thankfully, these things are gonna have a washer on them, so it won't be that big of a deal, but I do need to make this wider so it fits. I don't think that did. Oh man. Maybe I can get some wire clippers. And just clip it. Here we go. Maybe these will be enough. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. See what I did there? I'm just opening it up a little bit, and then it'll clip on like so. And then the washer, whoa, yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the washer will go on there and flatten it down. That'll be a decent connection. That should work. So then, gotta make sure you have enough room here for where you're cutting, because you're also gonna be stripping it. There we go. And now, to strip it, that might be a little too much, but that's okay if it is. Yeah, that's a little much. So let's trim that down. Come on. Come on. Actually, I could just fold it. I'll just fold it. That might not work either. There we go, they're falling off now. Puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass. Yeah, I would love to puff, puff, pass you guys. I'm actually out of weed. Like, I got no weed. So, I'm doing this sober. Maybe that's why I'm able to do it, because I'm sober. But, right now, yeah, I got jack shit for weed. So, if anyone wants to donate to my weed fund, that'd be great. All my links are in the description of this video. I spent all my money on this project I'm doing right now. All my money went to this solar project because I really do need power. I really need power. I really need power. So let me get this on here. Yeah, buddy, that's money. And then we'll clamp it down. Does that clamp? Oh no. Womp, womp, womp. Let's do it again. Alright, that's on there. But it needs one more finishing touch. Now, what most professionals would use at this part is that heat shrink stuff, where you just put it on there and you heat it up and it shrinks on, but I don't have those, again, because I'm poor. So I'm just going to use electrical tape. It's insulated. It'll do the trick, but there are better options. Just not for me. Being poor is expensive. But I do have some electrical tape, and we'll do it that way. I also don't have any fingernails. There we go. But then you want to wrap any exposed wire or anything that might come back and bite you later. And then just make sure it's a real good sealed connection. There's no wires sticking out or anything like that. Because if there is, it's a good way to start a fire, to have hot lines coming out with exposed wire. This just insulates it, protects it, makes it all good. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute when I say a washer goes over this, right? This is going to connect here onto this post. This washer's going to go over top of it, along with a locking washer and this nut right here, and it'll tighten it all down into the system. Boom. You can't even see it, my bad. There we go. Alright, and that's a solid connection, man. That's not going anywhere. So right now we have the positive from the panels into the charge controller and into the positive bus. Now we're going to wire up the negative bus. And we're going to have to do the same thing. It's the same size. I got the wrong connectors, so I'm going to have to modify it a little bit just so it'll fit. But that's alright. I'll be a pro at this by the end. This is really thin metal. It's easy to cut, easy to bend. And makes it a lot easier to work with this. But it's honestly not the right way. It's just my way. And it'll work. It ain't stupid if it works. That's my rule. So now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that I have enough wire when I cut this, so I don't screw myself and like make it too short and it won't reach. You gotta make sure it reaches. So you want to give yourself a little extra in case you screw up, which I'm good at. All right. And then to strip it, man, these wire cutters, these ones aren't bad. They're not the best, but they're not bad. Okay, in here. So you're gonna want to get these in here deep, as deep as you can. Oh shit. It's so deep. You want to get it all deep. Might help to spin it on too, to get it in there. Alright. Spin it, and then squish it. Which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to squish it right now, and you pinch, or you squeeze it on. And it's clamped on that wire real good. And then same thing, some electrical tape. And we're golden, pony boy. Remember, you're trying to cover up all the exposed wire. So it's all insulated. You don't want any metal coming out where it's not supposed to be coming out. It also increases the integrity. And this electrical tape is basically rubber, which doesn't conduct electricity, which means it's a little stretchy, and you can stretch it. And you want to stretch it a little bit. You want to make it kind of tight when you're putting this on there. And boom, reaches. Tighten everything down. There you go. Positive and negative bus bars or buses are connected. Boom. That might need a little bit tightening down. No, that's good. That's good. That's not going nowhere. Bing. That's not going nowhere. Bing. That's not going nowhere. I think that's good. All right, and then we can add the little protector doohickeys on here. And I have the negative one right here. Put that on. See how that is? You guys getting a good idea of what's going on now? Right? The power is going to go from here into the batteries, but through this. The batteries are also going to connect to this. This bus bar is also going to connect to it right here. And I don't need to use thick cables for this. This wire will work just fine because I'm not going to be putting a lot of energy through it. If I was putting more energy through it, it would be, I would need to use thicker cables. But thankfully I'm not. I do need, however, to unscrew this and this. So let me find something that can do that. Alright. Let's take a look here. Let's see, we're right at the beginning, guys. We're getting it going. We are getting it going. So, no, it's too big. This one. Also too big. What about this one? So what is everyone smoking on today? Oh, Heath's got gummies. RSO. Darren's got some RSO. Oh man, I wish I had some weed right now. I'm sad about not having any smoke at the moment. Shit. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I can't loosen these. Maybe this one. Oh yeah, that worked. Cool. Cool. Now I can connect the bus bar. What this is going to do is it's going to add fuses to the system, right? If I wanted to put some lights onto my solar, I'd run the lights through here onto a fuse. These are just automotive fuses, the same fuses you'd have in a car. But I'd run the lights through here and add a switch, and I could turn the lights on and off. I can put my fridge connected to this on the amperage that my fridge takes, and everything's protected. My fridge is getting power from the panels or the batteries this way, and yeah, I feel like that'll be the best bet. But right now, I need to add some more connectors. Oh, I've only got 2 left. That might be a problem. That might be a problem. What else do I have to connect? Guys, these are the only 2 I have left. That might be an issue. Oh, nope, I got 3. Found another one. Nope, 4 or 5. Oh, I got more. Okay. They just fell on the ground. I was getting nervous there for a second. Let's see. Here's problem number 2. Well, it might work actually. These might be the wrong size connectors, guys. They might be too big First they were too small, now they're too big. I tried to find a variety pack for these things, but I couldn't find a variety pack for them, so that was annoying. But let me, yeah, that might be too big. I wonder if I have any other connectors anywhere. I wonder. I don't think I do. Do you think when I make gummies I weaken RSO by maybe getting too hot? I'm not sure. Or am I close to a dispensary? Yeah, I'm in Oregon, man. There's dispensaries all over the place, thankfully. I can actually, there's like $50 ounces in town. There's, like, it's really cheap here in Oregon. I'm just spending all my money on this solar project right now, so I had to, like, decide between weed and power. And obviously I picked electricity. Instead of doing that bus bar right now, though, I'm gonna get the battery prepared to, actually bending the edges up might be a good idea, Pink Star. Hey, what's up, Aaron? I'm gonna connect the battery, get ready to connect the battery to the system, by adding some ends to this, because I gotta make sure that happens before I do anything else. The battery's probably the most important part. So I'll add an end to this, just like the other ones. Another one of these. And connect it to the positive and negative bus bars, just like we just did. But this time they're going to go from there into the battery system. So we can make sure the battery is going to get charged. So same thing, going to twist it on to the end there with the exposed wire. Actually, I might need a little bit more wire exposed. There we go. Ouch. Ouch. Wire's pokey. Wire's pokey. God, I'm sweating my ass off. Who do you think has better buds? California, Oregon, or Michigan? You know, that's a really good question. California's got some good weed, but maybe I'm biased. I don't know. I've worked in the weed industry here in Oregon, but I think Oregon's got the best weed. But Michigan and Oregon are both really cheap. Like they're the cheapest weed in the country. And see, I'm bleeding from those wires poking the shit out of me. And I am not a certified electrician, you guys. I haven't even stayed in a Holiday Inn recently. I just Googled some stuff and had to learn how to do this. Oh, you got some good stuff in Missouri? That's cool. Alright, boom. I got the end on. I also need to cut it, remember, because we're putting it on those positive and negative posts. And then the other end will go to the batteries. And I'm kind of eyeballing the battery part because the batteries actually aren't in there yet. So I'm going to have to make sure that I leave enough room, you know, for the batteries. I need to make sure that there's enough wire to get to where the batteries are going to go. And when you hook up, I'm gonna have two batteries that are going to be connected to each other. Negative to negative, positive to positive. What that does is it increases the amp hours, but keeps the volts the same. But when I do this, I also want to connect from the panels. This one is going to go to one battery, the negative, and then the other one is going to connect to the positive on the other battery. You don't put them on the same battery. When you connect the two batteries together, you want to put them one negative on one positive on the other. And if you have more batteries, you want to put them on the outside of the batteries of that system, not on the inside. Let me see. Oregon been crowded the best lavish soil beat on the planet. I think Oregon has the best. It's got a good climate for it. It's got a lot of rain. Although Michigan has a lot of rain too. But Michigan and Oregon kind of got it figured out because they didn't make the prices crazy expensive. Like Washington, State has probably the most expensive weed I've seen anywhere. And it's not even that good a weed. OSHA isn't around. Yeah, don't call OSHA on me about what I'm doing right now. Definitely not doing this to code. There should be more fuses. I don't have that kind of money. But the best part about a solar system like this is you can add whatever you want to it later. You know what I mean? Right, 40 to 50 ounces all day, shake 20, 30, 24/7. Damn, you paid 40 a half. Yeah, I can get 40 an ounce here. But on average, it's about like 80 to 100 an ounce. You can even find ounces here for like ridiculous amounts. Like, you can even find ounces here for like, I think that'll be long enough. You can find ounces here for like 200-300 if you really look. I think that'll be enough wire to reach the batteries that'll be in the stow and go seating underground. That's what this side's gonna connect to. Oh no, I might have an issue. You guys can't see it, but I can. I hope that. Damn, I gotta pull this off and redo this connector. This is bending too much, which tells me I don't have a very good connection in there. So I'm gonna pull this tape off and redo it. I think I might have forgotten to clamp it, to be honest with you. Just squeeze it down. I think I just decided to tape it without doing that because I'm sober. I did, look at that. I didn't even squeeze it on. And so when you guys put these on here, don't do what I just did. You wanna take this and you wanna really clamp it down, which I forgot. There we go. There we go. There, now it's squeezed on. It's not gonna pop off. We'll do the tape again. Damn, Tito, what's up, man? Yeah, I mean, if you guys are all talking, oh, I got a PayPal. Let's see what we got here. Thanks, whoever that was. I'm looking. From Darren, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that donation. Darren just got me $10 closer to getting an ounce. If anybody wants to chip in on the weed money fund thing, that'd be cool. Then I can go get some pot instead of smoking all my friends' weed. See, if I had real money, like people money, I would have the right connectors. In fact, if I had people money, I would have just paid someone to do all this. Alright, let me show you what I'm doing so you can see. Reconnecting both of the negatives onto the negative bus. Right here. Then I'm going to tighten it all down. Doesn't matter if these are touching. They don't have to be separated or anything. The power is going to be going from one to the other anyways. You just want to make sure it's a good connection. Doesn't pop out like that one just did. So, put it there. Right now I'm only going to be able to get these finger tight, and I'm going to be unhooking them and rehooking them and all that. But it would be better to have this, like, goddamn, mechanically tightened, like with a drill or something. But in the meantime, this will work just fine. Get it tight enough. Yeah. Come on, buddy. I think it's that locking washer that's making this an issue. You don't want a lot of space in here. You don't want, because it'll create arcs. You want the things to be real, real tight. And I think this locking washer right here is preventing me from making this much tighter. So let me take that off. Alright. Go on the post. Oh, the mailman's here. One goes up, one goes down. Yeah, that's much tighter. That's much better. Without that locking washer on there screwed everything up. Get it nice and tight. Same thing on this side now. Gotta do the same thing on this side. The same damn thing. Red wire. Boom. Now let's do it again. Man, this solar is kind of tedious, but if you understand it, it's not that intimidating. If you understand what's going on, what each device does, you'll understand the importance of it, and the rest of it's just butter. How do you do this? How do you do this? Like all this stuff. It's just YouTube, man. That's all I did to learn it. Became a necessity, you know? Became something I had to learn in order to survive being poor. Just learning how to do it yourself. Like I said, being poor is expensive. Clamp it. Yeah. And then tape. You're finding the tape. There it is. I'm probably using more tape than I need also. Fun fact. But it's a little stretchy, like I was telling you. You want to stretch it a little bit while you put this on. And right now, I could hook the panels up to the system and the charge controller would be getting power. And once I connect these, the end of this wire and the end of this wire will be getting power. They'd be live. But I'm not going to connect to the panels just yet. I'm going to hook the system up. And if you guys ever do solar, don't ever, big no-no, don't ever hook up your charge controller to the panels before the battery. You've got to hook it up to the battery first. You can damage the charge controller if you do it the other way around. The charge controller needs power from the batteries before because it's detecting, right? It's detecting what kind of power it is. And it adjusts itself off of that. So if it's detecting that you've got panels on there, it's probably detecting a lead acid battery, even though it's not lead acid. And you want to make sure it's detecting the right thing. So you want to hook the batteries up to the charge controller first, and then the panels. Do it the other way around, you can damage your charge controller. Right now I'm just spinning on these cables that I'm hooking up right now for the negative into the positive, the ones I just made, are going to go into the deep cycle batteries. And currently, I just checked the deep cycle batteries, and they are currently the same voltage. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have to charge them one at a time until they were even, and then then I could hook them together. But you don't want to hook batteries together that aren't the same voltage. But right now, both of mine are 12.3. These just came out. That's an issue. That's a problem. Oh, that's not very tight. That's what's going on. Got loosened somehow. Let me fix this. Like I said, these connectors aren't exactly the right ones, so I'm doing my best here. But they'll work. They'll work. We'll make them work. We'll make them work. Look how that got pulled out. It was pretty tough, snug before. Really need to screw this down mechanically. You know what I mean, Vern? Come on, shit. way better now. Nope. God. I think I got pliers or a wrench or something. Hang on. Is that a little too big? Oh no. And of course it fucking popped off right as I got it tight. Patience is a virtue when dealing with this stuff. And make sure these are real good on me. Sick of them falling out. There we go. They're on there now. Those aren't going anywhere. Same with, make sure this one's tight too. Tightness is going to be important when doing solar because if anything's loose, you'll create arcs. You know, it'll have little sparks in there, which is a great way to start a fire. You want to make sure everything's nice and solid. Tug, snug. You know what I mean, Vern? That's my new saying. Deal with it. I'm gonna take a break real quick. Then I think I'm gonna... By the way, here's my batteries. 2 AGMs, they're gonna be connected with these wires right here. You gotta use thick battery cables for it. Otherwise it doesn't work. You start a fire. Gotta make sure that you're using the right gauge of wire because the energy going through it's gonna create heat if it's too small of wires. Once I get that hooked up, then it's the inverter, and I have these outlets I was hoping to connect to the system too, and I think I'll be able to. And I'll hook the fridge to that. And then the inverter and batteries, and it's almost done, man. It's almost done. Let's take a look at comments. Oh wow, I've missed a lot, you guys. I'm so sorry. Any word from Nemo? I have not heard from Nemo yet. Last I heard, he's stuck in Europe. Is this all going into the minivan? Yeah, man, it's gonna go into the minivan, which is parked right here at my friend's house, right there. It's all gonna go in there, and right now it's like totally full. It gets a bit of a mess in there. It's got some organization to it, but it's really full. But that thing's gonna sit where these are right now. It's gonna go across right there, and then my fridge is gonna connect to all of it. It'll also be like a desk and storage and stuff. It'll be nice. But yeah, the batteries are gonna go underground because I've got stow and go seating. So they'll be all tucked away. You won't be able to see them. And everything that you see here will be up above ground on this thing. But this whole thing will be in the van. So, you know, you got all this storage and then the power area over here. Probably gonna put my other charge solar generators. I hate calling them that because they're not actually generators. But I'm gonna put those in there too. I'll be able to charge the deep cycle batteries, my two 100 amp hour batteries, and my what you call it, my solar generators at the same time. Get lifted, my friend. Oh, I got another PayPal. Look at you guys. Oh, thanks, Emily. Emily and Darren, you guys are awesome. Emily just sent 50, so I'm gonna be able to go get some smoke now. Anything after this, now that I've got enough for smoke, I'm just gonna be spending on food. Um, my food situation is running a little low. I am working on getting food stamps. I'm just waiting for them to put the food stamps on there. It's not gonna be very much since I have an income from the VA, but it'll help. This tripod's falling apart too. Need to fix this next. Need to fix the tripod next. Has anyone out there ever designed their own solar before? Critter, you said sound. Can you hear me? You guys can hear me all right? What did the solar setup cost you? Pink Star, that's a really good question. All of it. All together. Batteries, inverter, charge controller, DC to DC charger, wires, all this bullshit, the knickknacks, the little stuff. Probably about $1,000. Like right around $1,000, you can build a decent solar system. The most expensive part is right here. These two things right here. That's the most expensive part of your solar. The next expensive part is going to be all these cables that you need to get. And then the charge, not the charge controller, the inverter. The inverter I got is a 2,000 watt sine wave Renergy inverter. And I believe I paid like $250, $300 for that. So each battery right there was $250. So I got $500 in battery, which you can always add batteries to this too. That's the best part about these solar systems. You can add to the system. You can upgrade the system. You can, like if I wanted to get a better charge controller, I just go get a better charge controller and a different fuse. Then you take the old charge controller off, put the new charge controller on, you're good to go. It's that simple. If I want to add another battery to the system, I can add another battery to the system. It's pretty, it's a lot of those solar systems out there, like Victron, whatever, they do that too, where you have to buy like, it's all like internal. You're not doing it like this. They provide everything and you just plug it all in. But if something goes out, like, you know, it's not like you can just upgrade like that. On this system that you build yourself, you can upgrade. Also, those like solar generators, I just talked to this dude yesterday, not yesterday, day before that, and he bought a 2,000 watt Jackery, and it was $1,800, and he paid $1,800 for a solar system, and it has 100 amp hours in it. Actually, it's like 110 amp hours. I've got 200 amp hours right here, and I spent half of what he spent. You get a bigger bang for your buck. And what I'm doing right here, what I'm doing right now, attaching everything to this for the solar, you can do this in anything. You can put it in that box right there. I mean, you can put it into a toolbox or that. You know, it doesn't matter. You can build your own Jackery for a lot less and get a lot more than what you would get if you went and bought a Jackery. Like, you're just gonna be better off if you build your own. In fact, I've been sitting here thinking about making my own DIY Jackeries that I could just sell. Hell yeah, Darren. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Darren sent another donation. If you guys want to send any donations, feel free. It's my links are in the description of this video. And if Dave's still around, he can post up my links. But if you click on my link tree, I got my Cashapp, my PayPal, my Venmo in there. I've got my merch store in there. And there's also the tip jar if you don't want to download any of those donating apps, like PayPal, Venmo, Cashapp. You can go straight to the tip jar, donate that way. It goes right into my PayPal. It's a good option for people who don't want to clutter up their phones or their bank accounts or anything like that. It's all end-to-end encryption, so it should be good to go. What am I going to do now? I think I should put the ends on and start considering putting this charge control, or I mean the inverter on and hooking the batteries up. Even though the batteries aren't going in yet, I think I should hook everything up and make sure it works. Yeah, about $1,000 though is what I spent. Um, you can do it for cheaper. It's just you're not gonna have as good of a system. Like, you can save some money and just get one battery. You know, you can even go to Walmart and get a lead acid deep cycle marine battery. Um, but I got these ones because these ones are maintenance free. The lead acid, you have to fill it with distilled water whenever the cells get low, and you have to vent them. They have to have ventilation because there is fumes coming off it. These ones are sealed and maintenance free. You don't have to add water to them. They should be just good forever. Not forever, but you don't have to vent them. You don't have to add water. They're just plug and play until they die. Lithium ions are the same way. I'm a little frustrated because the cost of these batteries right now, those were $250, which when I got them, that was like the way to go. Lithium ions at the time were like $500 for 100 amp hours, but now you can get lithium ion batteries for $250, the same price I paid for those. So that's a bit frustrating. Now that the cost of lithium has gone down, I'm still using AGMs, but these batteries have been great. Down the road, maybe I upgrade to a 200 watt. Maybe down the road, oh my God, I live right next to a busy road. I'm staying right next to a busy road. But maybe down the road I can upgrade to 200 watt lithium ion and then add a 200 watt lithium ion and I'll have 400 amp hours. Not watts, amp hours. I don't know what I'm saying. Maybe in the future I can get 200 amp hour lithium ion. But for now, I'm going to use those 'cause that's what I got available to me. And trying to decide what to do next. And I think, yeah, I think that I might just maybe should add the switch, the batteries, hook the batteries up, start a solar business. Yeah, you have to get like certified and be an electrician to do solar stuff like that legally. But I could work at a solar place. I could even like start a solar side hustle type shit, but I ain't got the tools for that. I don't have the tools for that just yet. But I would like to put an inventory together and get all the stuff together to build my own jackery and then just sell it. You know, build a jackery with 100 amp hours in it and like a 500 watt inverter and then sell it for 1,000. That's what jackery's selling for. And I mean, a 500 watt jackery doesn't have 100 amp hours in it. It has like 40. So I'm thinking about doing that. What do I do next? What do I do? I think I'm gonna hook up the batteries. I think I'm gonna do that. Go get weed. That's what I should do. You know what? Actually, it might be time for a smoke break. I'm gonna bum a nug off my friends. But here's one of those jackeries I was talking about. It's not an actual jackery. But that's only 300 watts. That thing's only 300 watts, and I could build one. I want to say that thing was like $500, and I could build a 500 watt one with a lot more power than that. And you'd be able to just hook it up to your panels, hook it up to the wall. That's my friend Ben. He's a fucking nerd playing Halo 2. And if anyone remembers 1994, you might remember this game. And then there's Zag. You want to smoke some weed? They want me to smoke some weed with you. They didn't even want me to smoke weed. They were like, go tell your friend to smoke weed. What are you doing? Oh, you're watching my live stream? Oh, that's your boy.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to be famous? That's my friend Ben's son, Grant. Grant's a badass. Say hi to everyone on YouTube. Yeah, I'll get back to the solar in a second. They say, hi, Ben. Yes, weed indeed. 200-watt solar panels, inverter, MPPT. I don't have an MPPT charge controller. Mine's a PNW, but it works. I'd love to have an MPPT, but I'm poor. But 200-watt solar panels, inverter, charge controller, and a battery, mischief, that's almost all you need. You are missing like a fuses and breakers and stuff like that, but otherwise, yeah, that's it. That's all this has. This thing is really just, there's a charge controller in here. There's a 300-watt inverter which powers that outlet. This is all 12 volt. That's 12 volt. And it's pure sine wave. So sine wave is important. Fun fact: don't get square wave, get sine wave. If you remember trigonometry, you know what a sine wave is. If you don't, just look for sine wave. Look for pure sine wave. Don't get modified sine wave. That shit's garbage. But your inverter needs to be sine wave, because if you're going to charge your phone off of it, your phone will be damaged. If it's one of those cheap inverters from the gas station, from the truck stop, and you're plugging your phone into it, it'll damage your phone. So you want to make sure that you use pure sine wave. So I had my first inverter was not sine wave, and I plugged my laptop into it all the time, and eventually it destroyed the battery. My laptop would only work if it was plugged in. It no longer could use the battery. You have to replace the battery. Same thing will happen to your phone too if you do it like that.
You want to box? Don't leave it.
Damn, it's roasting here in Lisbon. Are you in Texas? In Lisbon? Isn't that in Texas? 10, yes, never had sine wave, never damaged anything. I guarantee you did. You guys don't have to believe me. You can Google this. If you plug your phone into a square wave inverter, every single time you do it, you are damaging the battery. If you plug a laptop into a square wave, you are damaging the battery. This isn't like a debate. The debate's over. Your phone is designed to, like, deep cycle batteries, which is what your phone has, are designed to receive energy in a sine wave. If you are receiving energy in a square wave, you'll damage it. Like a battery like this is a battery pack. It's like a phone charging battery pack. I have my router on it right now. That thing, you'll shorten the life of the battery every time you plug it into a square wave inverter. Until eventually your battery won't work anymore. Can you plug it in? Can you plug your phone into a square wave? Yes. But every time you do, it'll damage the battery, and you're shortening the amount of life that battery has. Like that's, like I said, the debate's over. You don't have to believe me. You're welcome to Google it if you don't believe me. See what Google says about it. But the smart move, if you're charging anything with an internal battery, is to get a sine wave. Build me a router to cheat Wi-Fi. That's actually what that router is. You probably do remember that, don't you? So this router that I have right here does kind of cheat Wi-Fi. This is kind of beside the point, but this router right here, basically it's, if I turn the hotspot on my phone, this thing picks up that signal and repeats that signal. And I connect all of my devices to this router. And then from there, my cell company doesn't know I have my hotspot on. I turn on my hotspot, this picks up the hotspot, repeats the signal, and everything's connected to this. Everything has internet. And this is programmed, this is a Linux router. It's programmed in such a way that my cell company doesn't know that my hotspot's on. So after 50 gigs, my cell company throttles down my hotspot, and that prevents the throttle. That router prevents me from getting throttled, so I can just use my hotspot indefinitely. It's just I have unlimited internet on my phone, but I only have 50 gigs of hotspot. So this just gets rid of that. We can smoke inside. I was just bragging about my router. Kimmy's smoking her last bowl with me, you guys. So after I'm done with the live stream, I gotta go to the dispensary and hook her up. You only get 10 gigs of hotspot. So with this setup, you would get unlimited. If you have 1 gig of hotspot and you get this router, you'd have unlimited. But it doesn't work with every cell company. I think Sprint and AT&T it doesn't work for. But it works on T-Mobile, Verizon. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're waiting a year now for what? Oh, the router? Yeah, I mean, like, you get a hold of me and we can chat about it, dude. Get a hold of my, on my social media or my email.
I paused it.
Oh, you switched to T-Mobile just for the router. Cool. What kind of phone do you have? We'll have to, like, there is some programming that you have to do on your phone, too. I'd have to walk you through it. Is that moss? Isn't that what that is? You guys want to
Really
see?
cool.
You guys want to see
You
something
can
cool?
take it out and squeeze it. Or something like that. Might be able to see it better.
Yeah, it's a piece of moss just floating in this water. It's been here years.
Yeah, here, I'll take it out and show you.
So these friends I'm hanging out with right now, like I've known them for a decade. They met me right as I started traveling, and yeah, they've been good friends ever since.
It likes a little gentle squeeze every so often. I googled all about it.
You gotta give that ball a
But-
squeeze. Look at that, man!
And it
It's a
can
chunk
live
of
for up
moss.
to 200 years.
200 years?
Yeah.
I wish I could live 200
Can you
years.
see the green brighter
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I think so.
It's actually it's a really cool bright green. It's just hard
Did
to
it start
see.
this big, or did it
No,
grow?
it was, yeah, they grow.
That's cool. Just a ball of fucking moss. You can like squeeze it.
They like to be put in the refrigerator
Do you know how to play hacky sack?
for a while. I do. Yeah, sometimes they like to be put in the refrigerator because it's cold and dark. And then when you take it out, it's like super bright green, almost like a fluorescent green color. It's pretty cool.
I'd like to get a terrarium in the van. Figure out how to make that work.
Did you want this light back off too?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You got enough natural light.
Or-
I would show Kimmy, but she didn't like being on video. But Kimmy's fucking rad. And her son is famous, by the way. Like LA famous. She's like rolling her eyes. She's like, my son's a pretty big deal.
I was gonna say, oh, really, but then I was like, oh, I was just texting him and he was talking about the breakdancing.
Yeah, he probably knew
He
that.
knows the announcers and pretty much
Yeah.
all of the dancers and all of his friends are there.
Yeah. So yeah, her son's friends are all competing in the Olympics
He's
for
like,
breakdancing right
Kid
now.
David is like one of my closest homies. Oh,
Frenemies, is that what you said?
homies.
Oh, homies, yeah. Cool, how do I get a start for the moss ball?
I don't honestly know. This was gifted to me from a friend, and I don't know. I'd have
I
to
honestly-
read about it.
I would say read about it or just go find some moss and throw it in a fucking jar.
It's a Japanese moss ball.
It's a what?
Japanese
Oh,
moss
it's
ball.
a Japanese moss ball. Moss ball. Moss ball.
They have like artificial ones too, because I guess it's harder now to find an actual real one, and so you can get like, I don't know, if you Google, you'll see. They have like kind of like fake ones, I guess. It's not the same exact moss. It's still a moss ball, but it's different. But they get round like that they start out really small, and it's the stones and stuff that they hit when they're in the river, when it's rolling,
Mhm.
and it just grows because it's a
Huh.
moss. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
And then over time, because of the motion that it goes through, it just creates it into a ball, like a tumbleweed.
Right.
You know,
Then
it
then
just
it
keeps
breaks
picking
off,
up.
or-
Yeah, it picks up more and grows more and just keeps becoming a bigger and bigger ball. So every so often, you're supposed to like
Shake it and
give
turn
the
it.
jar a little
Give it a little.
squish.
Give it a little.
Yeah, to
Turn it,
kind of like
keep
so
it the
it'll
bolt round.
lay on a different side.
Yeah. How you like that? How you like that? We get weird around here. I have over 60 houseplants that would be cool to add to my jungle. Hey, that's cool. When's Boston? Must be like sourdough mix. I'm going to Boston in like a week and a half. Reserve of gold nugget gets bigger, not smaller. Oh, good nugget. Reserve of good nugget. You guys tell me what you think this looks like. You get 3 guesses and the first one doesn't count.
If you mention plug, it doesn't count.
She said that she's gonna definitely look into that mothball or mothball. I keep calling it a mothball. A mothball. Japanese mothball. Yeah, Kimmy's got she's got a green thumb. She may not admit it, but there are some plants out here that she's kept alive and like growing some more spider plants right here going on and
But I sunburnt my bamboo and my aloe. My aloe looks good though, and I got some medicine for my bamboo, so it'll come back. It's greening up again back in here. So.
bamboo would be a good thing to grow in the van, I think, or like a cactus.
It's like one of the easiest things to grow, but it's so easy for it to like get screwed up because it's really picky with the lighting and
It's tough in the
you got
van to control.
they don't really like to. It's like one of the ones that I strictly use distilled water on.
Oh yeah.
But I had it in the front window and it got really hot and sunny that one day and it like fried the leaves on it, so I had to move it. And now it's recovering, but it'll be fine.
Does look a little burnt.
Yeah.
Okay, back at the grind. Finish up my solar. Thanks, Kimmy. Okay, so also got to add this. This right here is a Bluetooth module for the charge controller. And that way I can monitor the system through Bluetooth. It's really complicated to install though. Like, if you know anything about Bluetooth, you'll understand. So it has this side, but then it has this weird connection that I haven't seen since the 90s. So pay attention. What you do is you connect it to right here, right? And then you're done. See how complicated that was? Alright, now the wires. What did I do with those connectors? Oh, I think they're in here. Yeah. I maybe should have gotten more of these, but I got these 3, and I think these are gonna work well for connecting to the battery. All right. Alright, when you're connecting this stuff, I'm going to connect the 2 batteries together. with these, right? Negative to negative, positive to positive. That way, it increases the amp hours, but keeps the volts the same. If I did it the other way, it would increase the voltage, making a 24 volt cell, and leave the amp hours the same. That's not what we want. I want a 12 volt system with 200 amp hours. And I want to make sure these fit also. So, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to have to drill it out, because it doesn't fit. So, man, being poor sucks. I'm going to get this though. It's going to work. I'm going to make it work. And when you end up connecting these, I'm going to connect the positive to one of these batteries and the negative to the other one. That drill isn't working very well, and I don't think that there's a file in here, but let me check. Let me check and see if he's got a file. It's also not a very good spot to put my camera anyway. Oh, he does have bigger bits though. File would be better. Aha, look at that. No, not. Okay. Dropping shit, you guys. Dropping stuff. I'm looking, you guys. I don't see a file anywhere. I have to ask Ben if he's got one. And if not, might just have to try to keep drilling it out. Oh wait, oh look at that. Look at that. I got one. Yeah. Cool. See, if I had money, I would have been able to have all the connectors. I would just have all of them. But I don't have money. So I buy the one that I think is right, which I should have looked. This is kind of my fault. I should have just made sure I had the right ones before. Measured everything, but I'm in such a rush and I'm poor that I don't do stuff like that. But here we are. Gotta make it that big. A little bit more. It's funnier this way, we all do it. Yeah, this is how everyone does it. They're like, oh, I'm also poor. This is almost like too damn big of a file. I don't know if he's got a smaller one though. does not have a bigger one. This is what I got to work with, folks. So I'm just gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. Just make it wider like this. Put the file in drill, hold with pliers. Can't. I guess I could put it in that way. But it's not mine. I don't want to fuck it up. Let's see. I mean, I can see that there's some stuff coming off of it. Maybe I will try what you were talking about. This is gonna be fucking goofy. See if that did the trick. Just doing some metal working, don't mind me. Come on, buddy. So close. You're just so close. Sure. You have to do this the other one too. Oh man, it's so damn close. It's also really hot right now. I'm bending it. So close. Can it just twist on? Maybe it can. Oh no. So close. So close, you guys. So damn close. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Got it through. Alright. Now we gotta do the other one. I probably should be wearing fucking glasses for this. Fun fact. It's just metal shavings going everywhere. But I'm gonna put that connector in between these, but only after I attach it. to the end of the wire still. I still gotta do that. Let me move these batteries out of the way. Get you guys this view. Horror. Alright. One of these is done. I'll have to do the same thing with the other one. Well, this one might need more connection exposed, actually. I'll catch up on comments in just 1 second, y'all. I see you talking. I see you talking. Here we go. Gotta have a little strength for this part. You really want to make sure that when you do these, that it really clamps onto that fucking wire. That's a good connection. I'm gonna crank down some of them ends over here too. Just to make it look a little prettier. Oops. Just make sure it's clamped on real fucking good. Cool. All right. If you have a vise, put the... Yeah, I don't have a vise. But that would work. Just set the connector on top so there is a space for the file to go through. Yeah. Yeah, I got it. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, what are you doing, sir? Can I help you, sir? I had to file that out. Because it wasn't wide enough.
I also have some. Got some drill bits.
Yeah, I tried drilling it. Actually, I used my widest drill bit, but it wasn't enough, so I used the file instead. It worked. I just put the file in the drill. Turner. Look at that. Now we can connect to the battery. Now let's do it again for the negative side. Because I feel like this screw for the positive is skinnier than the other battery. And remember, guys, I'm connecting one of the positive to one battery, negative to the other battery. And, yep, let's file it out. that fan for? Oh, the beamer?
Yeah. Like I said, I have like the whole front end.
Actually, just to make some small talk with y'all, we went out shooting the other day. Me, Ben, and Kimmy. It was a lot of fun. Ben's got a pretty sick AR-15, and they've got a few pistols. Kimmy's got a Ruger 1022, and I brought my pistol. It was a lot of fun. These people here, Ben and Kimmy, it was like 10 years ago. They asked me, they were like, "Are we allowed to own a gun?" And I was like, "I mean, do you have any felonies?" And they were like, "No." And I was like, "You got any Lautenbergs, like domestic violence?" And they were like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, you ever been incarcerated against your will? Like, mentally, deemed mentally unfit or whatever?" And they were like, "No." I'm like, "You're allowed to own a gun. You have a constitutional right for it." So now they're like gun people. Now they own a bunch of guns. Because they went and bought their first gun, and I taught them how to shoot. And now they're avid shooters. Now they own an arsenal, and they're pretty good shots. Still not as good as me, but takes a lot of practice to get that good. Almost, man, almost on the first go. Almost on the first go, but not quite. Yeah, I met them when I first started traveling here in Bend. Been friends ever since. I don't need no pliers to hold this. I got man hands. Ouch. 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 Ooh, that's hot. Friction. Where'd that bolt go? Do you guys see that bolt anywhere? Look around where you're sitting and see if you can tell me if you see that bolt. Where the fuck did it go? Dude, I didn't even smoke that much weed. What the hell? Oh, here it is. Hiding from me. Boom. Look at that. Golden pony boy. Now let's connect this to the negative end now that's wide enough. Look, Ma, I'm an electrician. This one needs a little bit more than those other connectors. They need a little bit more exposed than those other connectors do. Because they have a little bit more metal showing, Put it in, twist it down. And then clamp that puppy. Clamp that puppy. Hey, yo, clamp that puppy. Really takes some oomph sometimes. And there is a part where this is metal and then it goes to plastic. You really got to make sure you're squeezing that metal piece on there, not just the plastic. If you only squeeze the plastic, you won't be as good a connection, and it might start a fire. So you want to make sure that when you squeeze that on, you're squeezing the metal piece of it. The plastic's further down, the metal's up high, but you got to make sure that you're squeezing on the metal too. You'll notice the difference. You'll feel the difference in it when you do it. Plastic's real easy. The metal's a little bit tougher. So you'll definitely notice, definitely feel the difference when you're squeezing. They make these actual, like, clamps, not clamps, but this like press, this with the big lever. It gives you a lot of leverage. It does this for you. It's really, really handy for thicker wires. For wires like this gauge, I believe this is 10 gauge wire. Might be 12, but it works just fine for it. Might actually be 12 or 14 gauge. All right. So, for those keeping up, right? We have these wires here that are gonna go, the panels are gonna plug into there. Power's gonna go around the corner. I've got these extra ones to charge my jackeries. So I've got 2 of those puppies. And then this thing splits the incoming into 2. So I got a negative and a positive right here. And then the other negative and positive are going into the charge controller. And then coming out of the charge controller, they're going into the positive bus, and then the negative bus, and then into the battery, right? Now these things are handy because now I can attach everything to these. Everything. If I needed to add this to it, I could connect it straight to these, straight to the positive and the negative bars. If I wanted to add anything to this system, I could connect it straight to this, including my inverter. So that's what I'll be doing after. That's what I'll be doing next, actually. Let's go get my inverter. I'm gonna go grab it. Okay. So on the inverter, I've already got some cables here. You can see this is a Renogy 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter that provides you with 110 power, just like a wall outlet at home. And this one in particular has 1 USB port. But that's okay. I don't need USB. I need the 110. But currently I really don't. But I do have some computers and stuff I'd like to hook up that would require this. And then on the end of the positive, I have this 200 amp fuse. This one will work for the system. My other one will work in a different spot on the system, but this is going to protect the inverter from getting fried or something like that in the system. But I think I'm going to put this in a different spot now that I'm looking at this. I have basically, if I could shorten this, right? Like this is a really thick cable. You need straight up bolt cutters and then you gotta get those connections, and then the clamp. I don't have a clamp to squeeze this on down because this is all real heavy duty stuff. But I wish I could. I wish I could shorten these, because then I could just add this fuse from the positive and then a short one into the bus bar, mount this fuse somewhere, so I could just easily turn it on and off. Instead, what's going to happen is I'm just going to have a lot of cord. I'm going to have this cord, which is a lot of cord, hanging out. But then again, let me think about this for a second. Let me take these off and give this a think, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of cord just hanging out, right? These are really big battery cables. So what I'm actually thinking I might do, on the back of, by the way, on the back of the inverter, right, you've got this positive and negative connections here. And then I also have the positive and negative buses right there. Obviously you connect red to red, black to black, but these can also be used as bus bars, right? You can just connect all the positives to this, and all the negatives to this, in the whole system. Some people do it like that, I don't. I like them in a different spot. But right now, before I decide on any of this, you know what I think I need to figure out next? Is where am I going to put my inverter? Where is this going to go? Right? It kind of needs to be close to the battery, which if you remember is underground, right? I've got stow and go seating in my van. So the batteries are going to be underneath this, and the wires are going to be coming up from the battery into these bus bars, right? Using this thick battery cable. Boom. It's going to go into the bus bars, right? Into the battery. This one, boom, into the battery. Batteries will be connected, and then the inverter will be connected to these bus bars also. And if I'm doing everything right, it should be just fine. But where is this gonna go? I've got basically this much room. I've got this much room. Wiggle room to put this thing somewhere. So let's figure that out. And then maybe I can catch up on comments while I got a second as well. You're a madman. Thanks, guys. My dad took me out and tried shooting revolver with no finger movement. Didn't work so well. Sparks hit my hands. I got man hands. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, dude. It did kind of hurt. Build out coming up next. Wow, I need that connector. Make mine. Could use that for portable, or is it out only? Go straight to battery since have inline fuse with big wires. Separate inverter from bus bar not needed. Actually, right now I don't really need the inverter. I'm not really using any 110 power at the moment. Everything I'm using is 12 volt. I could just get away with doing no inverter and hooking this up, which, remember earlier I found out I didn't have the connectors I needed to hook this up. But I could hook this up and then wire my outlets into it, which is what I'm going to do eventually. Outlets into it, and I'm going to have to wire the fridge into it also. So I need to get the connectors though. These are these posts are a lot smaller than I thought they were. I even looked it up while I was at the hardware store, and it said these were a 1/4 inch, but that is not a 1/4 inch. Okay. So, let's go to the negative. What am I doing? What am I doing? Those go into the battery. So I should probably find a spot to mount. You can't even see me. I should probably find a spot to mount the fuse or the breaker here that I'm going to install. I'm just trying to decide where exactly I want the breaker. Now you got to get the right size breakers, and you do that by doing Ohm's law, right? It's a pretty easy equation. If you know your volts and your amps, or your volts and your watts, you'll be able to figure out how many amps you need to protect. This one, it's broken. It's broken. No, it's not. This one is a 200 amp, 200 amp breaker. I'm pretty sure that the thing is backwards for you, and it's easy when it pops. Just pops down like that. And protects everything from going to shit. But where am I going to mount it, and will it connect? And I might just have to wait till I have some more money to put it in proper. This is always the story of my life. My solar is always a bit janky because I'm poor. I'm now missing a little nut. So let's see. Use bus bar for 12 volt. Yeah, that's this is all for 12 volt stuff, including my fridge is 12 volt. So my inverter complete separate from my 12 volt stuff. Always went direct to battery with 50 amp fuse to battery. Yeah, you can do that. You can wire your inverter directly to the battery and not go through the bus. That's just fine too. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Right now though, I'm looking for the other end of this breaker. There's a little nut that I can't find. And maybe it's the same size as off this one. So I can just jack this one then if it is. Yep. In fact, that might be what I do. I was sitting here considering doing just that. I'm just wiring the inverter straight to the battery, which is absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I was sitting here considering doing that as well. Now when you're hooking your inverter up, right? I have a 2 battery system. Where's that? 2 batteries. And they're going to be hooked together. So I can't just hook the inverter to one of the batteries. I've got to hook the positive to one and the negative to the other. Just like the charge controller. It's got to be done the same way. That makes sure that the cells balance, right? They're being charged evenly from both sides. Like the circuit is being completed properly. And I'm almost thinking it's time to connect the batteries to the charge controller, and then first connect the batteries together, and then the batteries to the charge controller. Fair warning, before you connect the batteries together, you have to make sure that they're same voltage, which I do have a voltmeter here. You know, one of the cheap ones from Harbor Freight. And this is over here. That's the symbol for DC. I don't know how well you can see it. There we go. Oh, nope. Whatever. That's the symbol for DC. And then I'm going to be switching it to 20 because that's where the decimal point should be. But 200 would work also. Yep, just wait, it gets so confusing adding DC to DC. I run 120 volt fridge, not much 12 volt. The DC to DC charger is going to be the simplest part because it just goes from my batteries to that thing, and then from that thing to this positive and negative bus bar with a fuse in between. And I have a 20 amp fuse breaker just for that thing. But that's going to take some modification in like the engine bay of my vehicle and whatnot. So I'm probably not going to do the whole solar system on live stream right now, but I will be doing a solar tour on a video down the road so everyone can see how I did that. There's an igniting wire. Well, I'll read the instructions. I'm pretty versed with this stuff. There's a igniting on wire. I don't know what that means exactly, but ignition wire? Is that what you're talking about? You got to tap into the ignition wire. So right now what I'm doing, I'll show yous. I'll show all of yous. There we go. Is taking my voltmeter and I'm testing the batteries to see what volts they're at. This one is at 12.7. And this battery is 12.8. So that's close enough. 12.8, 12.7. That's really close enough. What manufacturer recommends is that you charge them all the way and then connect them together. But if you don't know what you're doing or you don't want to rely on my information, just do it that way. Charge them individually until they're full and then connect them. But it's okay if you connect them so long as the voltage is about the same. But you don't want to connect one that's like 12.2 and if the other one's at like 12.9. You don't want to do that because then your cells will be out of balance. So, I think, let's see here. Let's see if if I can get you a shot where you can see this. I can't aim it any lower without, well maybe I can. Maybe I can do this. There we go. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is line up the positives. So they're aiming the same way. And remember, this wire right here is coming from the charge controller. Okay, so that's the positive. Here's the negative. You don't want these to touch each other, by the way. You don't want them to touch really anything. But definitely not each other. You'll complete the circuit, it'll be sparks. But right now, these two wires are hot, right? But I haven't connected them to the other battery yet. When you do this, you want to make sure that you connect the negative first, and then the positive. Make sure that's just out of the way so there's no accidents. It's always a good idea, which I didn't do this time. But if you have stuff like this exposed and you don't want any accidents since it's hot, is wrap it in electrical tape. And then it's not exposed anymore. Okay. Then hooking the positive up. So I don't know if you caught that, but I have the negative from the charge controller going into this battery and the positive to the charge controller going into this battery over here. That's this thin wire. Thin wire. Now I need to find the bolt. There it is. For this. Okay, so now with your voltmeter, you can connect them, test it. It says 12.8. Should be the same now. 12.8. And that also should give that should have given power to the charge controller. It should be detecting what kind of battery I have right now, but it's not. So that's annoying. I'm not sure why. But the charge controller is all hooked up. Let me see if this is live. So right now I'm testing these buses. Yep, that's live. And from there, nothing. Got nothing coming into this. Why do I got nothing coming into this? Huh. So there's an issue in between these going into the charge controller. Somewhere between the bus bars and the charge controller, there's no juice. There's nothing. So that's really annoying. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out why. Because the bus bars right now are live. Okay, and since this might actually be live, I'm not 100%. I'm going to wrap it in electrical tape as soon as I find the electrical tape. Here it is. So I got exposed wire right here. Right? And it might actually be hot. So let's just insulate it so we don't start any accidental sparks or fires. Just being a little safe. Probably a little over the top, but that's okay. I don't know where the disconnect is. Oh, I think I found it. I think it's right there. I think that connection is bad. I think that's the problem right there, actually. I think I got disconnected here. Let me test this again. Yep, those are hot. So probably one of these wires I made isn't good enough. Something's not getting through. So let's do this again. And this does look a little janky right here. Yeah, it looked like it got disconnected. Look at that. Let's do it again. Thankfully, I got another one. Thankfully, I actually do have extras. Which means I'm probably going to need to get another piece of wire. I think I'll end up cutting that one too short once I cut it some more. Yeah, I think that's just, I cut too much off of it. So, let's do it again. From that to that, I'm kind of measuring right now because you want to make sure you have enough wire. And I'm over measuring. I'm going to make this a little longer than I need to, just in case. Alright. Just going to strip the one end. And then put it in here. And this is where the connection wasn't very good last time. And that's probably my fault. I'll take ownership of it. I'll own it. And clamp that bastard down. Try to make sure that doesn't happen again. Then my electrical tape. I hate those clips. Yeah, these clips, actually I got these clips right here from Ace Hardware. But I'm not a big fan. There are better ways of doing it. Or better tools to have when you're doing it, which would go a long way as well. But you know what? I'm doing it like a poor guy would do it. This is kind of a solar on a budget, you know what I mean? If I had the money, I'd be doing this very differently. I would have all the right size connectors and everything. I would love to see you installing everything into the van. That would make some interesting content. Yeah, I just feel right now I feel so overwhelmed with YouTube at the moment. And it's not your guys' fault. I'm so behind on editing videos, and I feel like kind of bad for you guys because I know you've been looking forward to videos and stuff from me, and I haven't really put me out in a minute, and I've got so much footage that I've got to edit. So I'm feeling like a little overwhelmed with the footage I have. I'm trying to get it all edited and out before I start filming much more. Plus, to be honest with you guys, like I'm not really doing anything with my life. I'm basically just camping and hanging out. I'm not really like doing a whole lot. I am going to Boston soon. I will be live streaming from Boston. Alicia and I are going to be working a festival there, and we plan on doing a live stream while I'm there too. So there it is. Now let's loosen this. Put this in. Now when I connect this, the charge controller should get power. It should turn on, and it should automatically detect that these batteries are AGM. They're sealed batteries. And we can test it right now just by touching this wire to the positive bus bar right here. So if we touch it, there should be some shit that happens. 'Cause these are live. And still nothing. Oh, there it goes. You see that? Lights. That's a good sign. Cool. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for, folks. That's exactly what I needed to see. It makes me very happy. That's a good sign. Let's tighten it all down. This time I made this wire, it's a little longer than it needs to be. I'll probably pin it down right there or something. But for now, that works. Yeah, I got one right here. Look at that. Let's get my bit back. I'm just gonna secure this wire, make me feel better. I don't like how long it is and how it could like just stick out and get. It's not even the right bit. I don't like how it can stick out and get snagged on stuff. So I'm just gonna make sure that it's pinned down. In fact, I'll do it like this so it also pins that black one down. That's what I'll do. So I got these little connectors to hold my wires down. They're pretty damn handy, to be honest with you. So that'll work. And I'm just gonna wedge the positive up against the black one there, this black one behind it, so it pulls them both down. Oh, that didn't freaking work. I think my screw was too small. It went right through. Need to get a washer. Or a bigger head on the screw. I think that's got a bigger head. Let's try that again. Cool. All right. Well, currently the charge controller is getting power, which means that if I was to connect my panels right now, they would start charging the battery. Cool. I like it. I like it. You guys, this has been sitting for 6 months, so I had no idea if it was even gonna work. Currently what I'm missing is, I just thought of something, but that doesn't matter right now. Currently what I'm missing is, I need to get more connectors so I can hook the fuses up that I need. This is all stuff that I can just collect over time and add to the system, but I need to get the right connectors, these stupid little things, so I can add all my circuit breakers and stuff. So let's take a look at this right now. All right, so solar comes in from the solar panels into the charge controller, into the two buses, into the batteries, which will be underground, and the batteries are connected together. Now I can hook this up with, I've got these wires that came with the inverter. I can hook it up I would like to have. Where'd it go? Here it is. The 200 amp switch in between the inverter and the batteries. Currently, the only way I could think of doing this, right? So, the only way I can think of doing this with what I have here available is like connecting these batteries or these wires. See, here's the problem, right? Like, this thing only goes on the positive end. The negative end can go straight to the battery from the inverter. The positive goes through this. And I have long wires to do it with. And no way to shorten them, right? Like, no way to make these any shorter. So I'm just gonna have a bunch of wire in between this. And I can either do that or not have the breaker at all until I can get some shorter cables. And I'm also gonna add a switch. Whoa, oh my God, almost died. And I'm also gonna add a switch so I can just switch the batteries off. Yeah, I might just hook the inverter directly and skip the fuse for now. I might not. What do you guys think? Yeah, I know, you're supposed to have a breaker or a switch. It's gonna have a lot of fucking wire hanging out. And I think these might be too big. I definitely have a switch there I could use. But I think, yeah, that's gonna be like, I need different connectors, man. Like, that's way too big for this. It's way too big. So, maybe I'll just use the manual switch for now. Connect everything to that. Let me see if I can hook this up. Use long run to bus bar, steel shorter red. Okay, so this is how you wire up the switch, by the way, right? I'm gonna figure out where to mount it after I wire it up because I'll know how much room I have, how much space I've got to work with. But you just hook one cable up to one, tighten it down, right? And then hook the other cable up to the other. You could put this on positive or negative. I tend to put all of my switches on positive. Some things do require it to be on negative. Some things require it to be on positive. Just depends on what you're working with. But most of the time switches will be on the positive line. This switch, it's a battery isolator switch. They're pretty cheap. You can pick them up at Harbor Freight for damn near nothing. The fuses, I think they were like 20, 30 bucks. Not the fuses, but the breakers were like 20 to 30 bucks. So not too bad. And then my other issue here is how long the screws are that hold this in place. But I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. So currently, here's my line, right? Between the inverter and the battery. This is a ridiculous amount of wire. I don't need this much wire, but I do need the switch on here, so I guess it just is what it is, you know what I mean? Here, I'll spin this around so you can see what I'm doing. Currently, the switch right here is turned off. It's in the off position. You should probably leave it like that until you're ready to turn everything on. connect all this right now. Um, cross-threaded it. That's annoying. Cool. Now that's on. Now, the negative is much shorter. In fact, I had this connected to a battery at one point, so I had this all taped up. Doesn't need to be anymore. Schwabang. Schwabang. So then that goes on this side. Okay. Then this is going through the switch. Switch is off. This to the positive on one of the batteries. This to the negative on the other battery. Can't connect them to the same battery when you have a 2-battery system like this. Just like the charge controller, I got this little wire going in here from the charge controller. Then on the other battery, I have this other little wire, and that's what's going to be charging the battery. You know, while the solar is connected. So you unhook this positive, hook the inverter up to it. Pray that my screw here is long enough. Which I think it is. I think we're good. Okay, and now the negative to the other one over here. I'm gonna have to spin this around so we can reach. The negative is going to dictate how far away I can be from the batteries, because that's the short end. How far the inverter is going to be from the batteries, which the inverter will probably be lower than that on the shelving. I haven't quite decided where I'm going to put the inverter yet. Be honest with you. If only I had wrenches and stuff for the right size. There we go. Look at that. Oh yeah, I know you can't see it. Let me see if I can get you a gooder view of what I'm doing here. I've just hooked up the inverter to the negative and to the positive. Currently the switch is turned off, so the inverter will not be getting any power. But now that everything's hooked up on that switch, the switch right here, when I flip this switch, the inverter should be provided power. Let's see if I can get both of these in the same shot. Because if everything's right, when I flip the switch, the inverter should get power. So let's find out. Hopefully it doesn't spark. Look at that. Beautiful. Off, on. Everything's hooked up. Everything's working. The only thing it's waiting for is solar panels to be plugged into it. I got a solar system, baby. Now if I want to disconnect the batteries, boom. Now the inverter's telling me it doesn't have enough power to stay on, so I'll turn it off. But system is all together. Now I just gotta make sure, figure out where I'm gonna put everything. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's good news. I like this. I think it's time I take a break. Eat this food. Run to the dispensary with your awesome donations. And if anyone else wants to donate, please consider it. Right now like I said, I spent all my money to get this solar system set up. And I even had some help with some of this gear. DC to DC charger. And I still had to spend a bunch of money to get all this going. On all this little piddly stuff all over the place, you know. All the fuses and wires and tools and so your donations would be really, really appreciated right now. Basically right now I got more money, or I'm sorry, I got more month than I have money. So getting a little nervous. That's why I don't have weed right now. But now that the system's hooked up and I know that it works, I think I'm gonna take a break. Because I gotta now plan the attack of how I'm gonna get this in the van with how full my van is. So I appreciate everyone being on the live stream with me. I'm gonna eat some food. Hopefully you learned something about solar. I know it wasn't like that comprehensive. I'm not an electrician, but I hope it was a bit helpful. You can build a system like this inside of anything. As long as the batteries take the most space and the inverter right there. But you don't really even need the inverter unless you're using household power. But this is going to be the biggest draw on my system that I have, except for the fridge. So I'm going to figure out how to mount this, where to put the where to put the inverter, where I'm going to put it on this thing. And then probably have to disconnect all the batteries, put them in the van, and then reconnect everything in the van. I still have some stuff to put on this that I just don't have the connectors for, so I can't put it on. Which means that I currently can't wire this up to it. I mean, I could, it just ain't got no fuse. Which you should have fuses. It's probably not going to be needed, but it's a great way to not burn your house down. So I use opposite post than incoming from solar side. Good night, Portugal. Good night, man. I appreciate you being here at the end of your day. Greetings from the States. I love Europe. Can't wait to go back. You talking about the fuse inside of this? I don't know that there is one. There might be, actually. Not sure. These outlets were given to me. I don't know much about them. But I would like to put everything on the bus bar. But I might be able to just connect those right now to that the positive and negative posts, right? Because this post and this post have power. Anything I want to add to the system, I can add via those two posts. But I appreciate you guys being here. And I appreciate your donations. You guys are badass. I've also got food in my Amazon wish list because food's expensive. I've got those dehydrated meals that you just had water. In fact, Annie just sent me a couple of them that I'm gonna be eating here in the next couple of days. And it's a big shout out to Annie for sending me some food and some snacks. But those dehydrated meals are on there. I got some snacks on there. You know, I got some other odds and ends, things that would just make my life a little bit easier. Right now, my Amazon wish list works because I'm at a friend's house. I'm not living here, I'm not staying here, I stay out in the woods, but I can come here and get my mail here. So it works when I leave here. I don't know if it'll work again. I don't know when the next addresses I'm gonna have. I don't know when the next addresses I'm gonna have. Might be a while till I have an address again. But in the meantime, this shelf is becoming my solar station for my van life. So I'm pretty stoked. Thanks for being here, guys. As always, smiles and smiles.